So you are a female between the ages of 35 and 49 years old, and you are dealing with a hair loss situation and you really want to know where to start. Hi, my name is William Gonitz. I'm the CEO and founder of Evolution Hair Loss Institute and Advanced Trichology Products. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what you should be taking from the Advanced Trichology line if you are dealing with female pattern, telogen effluvium, inflammatory or nutritional hair loss situation if you are a female between the ages of 35 and 49. Because technically at the end of the day, you really want to be getting something as personal as possible when you're dealing with hair loss, because you are an individual. There is no one size fits all product. And when we are isolating and customizing for our particular clients, typically we like to do blood work or we like to do the hair pull test if we were doing it remotely. But if that's not an option, this is a great place to start and essentially potentially give you all of the things that you require to get you through your hair loss situation, get it under control, and regrow hair, because that is obviously the objective. We want to maintain as much hair as humanly possible in the best way possible. Now, if you're a female between the ages of 35 and 49, you're in a unique state because realistically you have peaked out at your estrogen, and your estradiol typically is going to cap out around age 35, and then it will continue to decline until you get to approximately perimenopause at 49 years old. The average age of menopause is 51 years old. So you go from this high level of estrogen down to this low level of estrogen, which opens the door for DHT to really start impacting your scalp. And so you have to protect that. You also conceivably would have nutritional issues, because if you're a menstruating female and you're having hormone fluctuations, adrenal fluctuations, potentially you are in a very high stress situation, you have kids, you have a family, whatever it is, you are going to be taxed from a stress and adrenal perspective, which pulls down your nutrients. You're going to have enough life experience and enough lifestyle factors that you could have iron issues, vitamin D3 issues, and realistically you need to protect against all of those. And when you're doing that and you're protecting against all of those, you will get the best results possible. This is the ideal solution from my experience in 20 plus years in the clinics to really, when I sit across from a female in this age bracket, that I know that this is a very, very solid set of items. So I'm going to get into those and explain why I would use these in this particular situation, what each individual item is for, and how much to take, and essentially when to take it. So as we're moving through this, first and foremost, when you're dealing with a nutritional aspect of hair loss within this age bracket, the first thing that you really need to look at as a female is iron, because when you are menstruating, you are losing a ton of iron on a regular basis. So before menopause, again, you could have heavy menstruations or you could have light menstruations, but either way, it is going to impact your iron absorption. Plus, if you have any dietary restrictions, if you're a vegan, vegetarian, iron becomes even more valuable. It is an absolute needed portion of our nutrition to rebuild red blood cells, to store iron in our body, and to help facilitate almost every activity in cell regeneration. So in this particular scenario, I'm going to recommend only one Derma iron per day away from coffee or tea or calcium supplements, and you're going to utilize this with food, and that is going to help you establish a little bit more of a balance and give you just enough of what you need. Now, if your iron or your ferritin is very low, you're going to need a lot more than this, but this is going to give you a really solid baseline. Next step is going to be vitamin D3. As time goes on, if you've never taken vitamin D3, the highest probability is your vitamin D3 is low. This is a liquid version. It is going to work really, really well, particularly when you're putting it underneath your tongue sublingually. It will then pass through the under portion of your tongue into your bloodstream more effectively than if you were taking it through your stomach. So when you're taking 5,000 units per day, which would be my recommendation in this particular situation, you just drop 5 drops underneath your tongue away from food by about an hour to 2 hours, and that's going to absorb. And usually I only recommend, if you didn't have any blood work, this 5 drops a day for 6 months, and then discontinue, or definitely go and get a vitamin D3 blood test so you know exactly where you are. We want you somewhere between 60 and 80 nanograms per milliliter in the optimal range. The next step is when you're going through perimenopause or you're in a downward decline of estrogen, you want to protect yourself against inflammation. You want to protect yourself against the hormone fluctuations, and the EFA Complete will do just that. It is enteric coated. It will end up basically passing through your stomach, and because it's enteric coated, it will then open in your digestive tract in the small intestine, where it's going to have the best opportunity to give you the best benefit. Is something very special about this particular product. It has evening primrose oil, borax borage oil, flax oil, as well as a fish oil that's high in omega-3s that gives you a balanced EFA complete, but also helps balance out the hormones and decrease inflammation. So in this case, it is a perfect component for this particular age bracket and this particular type of hair loss, whether it be nutritional, adrenal, or potentially DHT related. This is going to be very helpful. Now, I've talked about nutritional, I've talked about adrenals, I've talked about some of the DHT. Now, the follow growth vitamin is going to help deal with all of those on more of a long-term basis, because the derma iron and the vitamin D would be temporary until you get those up. The EFA complete is obviously mainly for inflammation and hormonal support. This is mainly for the nutritional components. When you're dealing with the nutritional components, you want to make sure that you're covering all of your bases. You've got the zinc, you've got the vitamin D, you've got the iron, you've got the methylated B vitamins, you have the A, you have the E, you have essentially everything that you need, and in this case, there's 28 specific ingredients for this type of hair loss. When you're dealing with diffuse thinning throughout the top, or even more magnified on the top of the scalp, this type of supplement is going to be exactly what you need and give you the greatest benefit. And when you use this long term, it protects against the future loss, it protects against telogen effluvium, it essentially is protecting against inflammatory loss by making sure that your nutrition stays as solid as possible. So that is why I would recommend the follow growth vitamin in this, and that would be a perfect fit for this situation. Finally, this is the follow growth serum. Now, the follow growth serum is sort of a topical adjunct to everything that we've already talked about. It is going to utilize a topical black cohosh extract, which is going to help protect against the DHT and the decline of estrogen. It has vitamin D3, which is going to specifically, obviously, coat the vitamin D receptors in the scalp and on the hair follicle itself. It is going to improve nutrition to the scalp. It is going to decrease inflammation with the rosemary oil, thyme, as well as sage extracts that are going to then help combat microbials, fungus, bacteria, things that are going to help from the exterior diminish your body's ability to regrow the most amount of hair. So collectively, they will all work together. I would have you use this at night. It leaves a very low residue. It does have a very fragrant smell, which will then obviously just be utilized while you were sleeping. You can get up and then wash it off in the morning. But when you're doing all of these things together, you can expect, and preferably we would be seeing, a diminishment of shedding slowly starting around day 30 when you were on this. By the time you were at day 60, day 90, hopefully your shedding is completely stopped, and at that point you're seeing really a powerful uptick of hair starting to have much better body, have new growth, darker and thicker through that frontal hairline, and seeing the full magnitude of what should have been growing already. But once you've adjusted all of the items inside your body to focus your hair on growing correctly, you can do this here. If you have questions, go ahead, put them down in the comments. I'm happy to help in any way. And obviously, if you want to end up signing up for our email list or looking at any of our products, go down in the description below, check out what I talked about here today, and we are happy to support you through your entire hair growth journey.